Right, the new palm is in, so let's have a look. I've done a update video earlier about the arrival, and now I've got it in the ground. We've untied the fronds because they were tied and sort of restricted, so we couldn't really get a good idea of what it looked like. But like I said, I'm quite pleased with what we got. It is a nice silvery green, so in a way it does tie into the other Butia I've got this side, which is again very similar sort of silvery green, whereas this one's I don't know whether this one is more shade grown originally, so it's a bit more stretched by the looks of it. It's not quite so tightly packed, the fronds, whereas the new one, you can see, is a lot, where the other one's a lot more open. This one is really sort of compact and almost where you can see the leaves are arching quite a bit. I don't know how long that's been tied up for. I don't know, someone else hinted on the comments that it might have been freshly imported from Italy, so that may have took a couple of weeks, maybe 1 week in transportation tied up. So I mean, these fronds may well open up a bit more as yet, but this is approximately an hour after it's been in the ground, and this one is at ground level. And you know, these are hardy in the UK, especially in my area. It's fairly mild. We don't get cold, particularly cold winters here, so I'm not really too concerned about the possibility of root rot so much with this palm. Again, I mean, I've had Phoenix Canariensis down the bottom there, quite a large one now, for several years. I've never had a problem with that over winter, other than external cold rather than underground wet damp root rot. I mean, I've had spear pull on that particular palm, but the point is, well, I'll show you the point right here. You get about 18 inches down in my garden and you get pure sand, and that literally is that. So even though the soil is pretty good, like I say, down to about 18 inches, and suddenly that's just this sand. So it's good for drainage for winter, not so good in summer because it does dry out quick. So either way, this is the palm as it is in the ground. I had to dig out a few plants to get this where it is. I mean, there was some cannas and a few sort of bed and plants which I've just potted up. I'll just absorb them somewhere else into the garden. I'm not too concerned about them. Yeah, I just moved a couple of small perennials around it. Or in fact, this is just like a variegated grass and some other stuff, and a dahlia at the back. But regardless of that, so that is how it's looking. I did want it at the front of the border. I know these things can get fairly wide when they put on some size. I'm gonna say it's probably about 5 foot away from the fence. So I mean, at the moment, none of the fronds are anywhere near the fence. You know, there's a good couple of foot gap there. I know in time they are gonna expand, but as we look at it now, It's a nice sort of compact, really silvery green form, so I am pleased, and that does make it worth waiting for. You know, it's 2 months in the waiting, but you know, it's here now, and all's well that ends well, as it is. Yeah, I'm quite impressed. It's a decent size, decent width on the trunk. Another thing that makes me think it might have been tied up for a while, the fronds, is because there's in the middle they are quite yellow, and there is 3 spears emerging. Each one is quite yellow, so that is something I'm going to watch. And obviously when I dug this in, you know, we got down to, I think the pot was nearly 2 foot deep, so we got down to 18 inches into the ground, and we hit that straight sand. So I did enrich the soil quite a bit at, you know, at the bottom root level of the plant. I will say that was really rooted out well in the pot. You know, it's a big pot, and that was fully rooted out, and there weren't much soil in it. That's all roots, and some nice white roots as well, so that is a really good sign. I think, you know, next year this will really kick in to growth. It's going to take a little adjustment. It's probably been bumped about a bit, whatnot, but you know, Butias are palms that you can get away with a little bit of root disturbance without too much trauma to the actual overall plant. I know a lot of palms will suffer from root disturbance, but this is one that you can get away with sort of digging up and moving somewhere else, and they don't really give much fuss. Yeah, so we got this into the ground. I mixed a lot of the sand, so I mixed sort of 50-50 sand and soil rather than just straight sand after that 18 inches. So we mixed that together, it's a nice 50-50 mix, and I put some nice fresh compost in there as well. Not too much, I didn't want too much sort of organic matter around the bottom of the roots, because you want that fairly free drain, and so I put a little bit in there just to give it a bit of feed, and hopefully green up them new fronds in the centre. Give it a good water. I will say halfway through backfilling we had a bit of a downpour, which is, to be fair, quite welcome because it's been so dry. So we had a good downpour for 5 minutes, and then so I sort of ran indoors, came out again, finished the job, and that's what it looks like. So the idea is, you know, when you start a garden, you always have big plans, and you think this, that and the other, and you get quite excited and you buy loads of plants, and I fell into the trap of putting the wrong plant in the wrong place. And I've got, I won't say a huge, but a fairly big Butia here, which is in full sun, and the leaves really do struggle in full sun. You don't get big leaves, they sort of shrivel up, and so that's not a bad thing. That's a background plant which is going to get a lot more shade now. And you know, what's something to balance out. Let's say I've got a Washingtonia this side, which is sort of hitting fence level, and we've got, I don't know, tetrapanics and a banana here, which is sort of fence level plus. So what's up in the middle here to balance that out, and that is a nice contrast to that silvery green. Not that that's more by luck rather than by design, because obviously when you're buying plants online you don't know what you're going to get until they turn up. They'll show you pictures, but it's not the actual plant you're buying, obviously. So I think I've got lucky here, or maybe they've felt guilty about sending me the wrong palm in the first place. But either way, all that is behind us now, and I'm happy. It's a decent palm, nice colour. Yeah, very pleased. The only thing I will do, I did hesitate at this point in the year where, you know, we're in first week into September now, and I did think is it a good idea to plant out now, or should I wait till next year? But when I see the size of it, I thought I don't really want to be, sticking that in the greenhouse or summer house, whatever, to overwinter it. And plus, the ground is still warm at the moment, and we're still getting warm days. It's been a nice, albeit quite blowy day today. That's been warm, and the sun's been out most of the time, apart from that shower we had. And that's, we're still in the 20s for a good few weeks, and the ground's going to be warm for a good month to up to 2 months. So that's going to give it a little chance to get a bit of root action in, if nothing else. And hopefully it shouldn't take any damage through winter. Again, the problem is, I don't know, I had trouble contacting the nursery I bought this from, Seagraves, online. They didn't seem to be too keen to answer the phone. I mean, I managed to get through to them once, but I've rung them up several times and not been able to get through to them. But I've sent them emails, and they sort of take about 3 or 4 days to get back to you, and the communication weren't great. So I mean, but like I said, I did have someone on the comments say they managed to get through on the phone, and apparently they're waiting for the stock to come in from Italy. So that tells me that this might have come straight from Italy, which they do get cold winters. But again, has that been greenhouse grown or in the ground? I don't know that. But either way, we're going to take the chance. We get it in the ground. It is what it is. We're going to give it a go. At the minute, it looks pretty good, other than them, like I say, that sort of slightly yellow and new fronds coming out, which I'm hoping will green up now that's in full sun. And there's a little bit of nutrients in there. I did dig in a good amount of bloodfish and bone with the backfilling process. So it's a good slow release fertiliser. You're not going to damage the roots too much. It does sort of stimulate the roots, and that's not going to burn any roots like some sort of harsher fertilisers. It's good natural slow release. So we'll see. This is what it looks like, and hopefully we'll get it through winter without too much damage. Fingers crossed it's a mild winter, but yeah, I am quite pleased. So it's a sort of form I like. Nice arching leaves, quite compact, the colour's right. Yeah, I can't complain. This was a good price. I've seen these in nurseries for a similar size plant for over double what I paid for this. So this is a good deal in my eyes, even though we had that 2-month wait for that behind us now. I'm happy. Palms here, it's in the ground, it's looking good. Let's hope it stays that way. Right, enough rambling. Thanks for watching. Catch you on the next one.